better double check with him before he accepts this bid. Hope he doesn't want to leave anymore. Hey, buddy, how are we? So we've had a few bids come in that are over the asking price for your client, so we have accepted them as per our discussions a few weeks ago. I was just wondering if he had a change of heart, maybe wanted to stay at the club, because he's the only player so far who we don't want to leave, who wants to leave. So just double checking before we accept anything. He still wants to leave. Okay, that's a shame. Oh, there's a good percentage of next sale fee in that for us, so I suppose that's good. And you know, if he wants to go ruin his career at a big club, then that's fine. He's not going to get as much game time there, but you know, great. Pleasure doing business with you too. Bye, buddy. Thanks, mate. Hate your guts. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 72 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up in today's episode we've had a few outgoings in the transfer window before the start of the new European season. We play the first qualifying round of the Champions League, taking on the Hamrun Spartans of Malta. So if you are looking forward to this one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we are straight back into European football off the back of yesterday's episode. It was the Conference League final against Brighton. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it above my head in the top right corner, with that being a final. We also did our Euro roundup in that episode. Unfortunately, we did miss out in that final, losing 2-0, but a good rise up the coefficients. Everything is a club on the improve, and we are back in Champions League qualifying the first round, taking on a team from Malta who we should really be thrashing. It is fair to say a one-star reputation club who have not really tasted a great deal of success as a club in recent history, either their last Premier League title in Malta coming in 2021, so not quite sure how they've made their way into the champions path of Champions League qualifying, but nonetheless, this is the team who we will be taking on in today's episode. Hopefully a good bounce back from what happened in yesterday's episode. But before we get into that, we have played a few league games as well as sell some players going into the start of this new European season. And we are in the transfer centre to show you guys about these now. In terms of ins, there have been absolutely none so far, so no need to worry about that. But what you can see is that we have sold 3 players, as well as loaning out Philippe West to Nantes. So that is what has happened so far. We'll work from the top down. First off, Lorenzo Gavioli. We decided to sell him back to an Italian club in Linate. He was a good backup box-to-box midfielder for us behind Nicolosi Caviglia for the last few years, but with us signing Werner Bayer at the start of this season, he is now 27 years old, didn't have as much potential as Werner Bayer, so we decided to let him go. He was, as I said, a very good backup box-to-box midfielder for us, but we have let him go just to coincide with that freshening up of the midfield and our backup squad that we did do at the start of this season before those Conference League knockouts did start. He only left us for £8,000. Unfortunately, we still can't get very good transfer fees as a club here at Völsungur, but Lorenzo Gavioli, not a terrible bit of business considering that he did join here on a free transfer. The next player that we did sell was Diego Estrada. He has gone to Real Cartagena in Colombia, back to his homeland. Another player who we did sign on a free transfer, just didn't quite have the potential compared to some of our other young goalkeepers coming through the club, and he is left for a fee of £10,500, should be rising up to £22,000. Not too bad for a player who never made a first team appearance for the club. Interesting that it was more than Lorenzo Gavioli, but I suppose that is potentially because he is a lot younger. And probably the most high profile sale of this transfer window so far, Eugenio Rosali has gone to Ternana in his homeland of Italy as well, the 20-year-old who did start that Conference League final for us in yesterday's episode, but with some players that we did sign at the start of the season, namely Meza Sigurd Bjornsson. We still have Stamatis Chatzakis at the club. We are quite deep at left back and decide to let him go. He's a player who we potentially didn't really need anyway. We kind of signed him when we had that injury crisis with both Raul Prada and Leandro Diaz during last season. He did a good job filling in during the latter stages of the Champions League and, of course, in the Conference League earlier this season, once both Diaz and Prada did leave, but we have decided to let him go. We have some players who just have a little bit more potential than he does. Sigurd Bjornsson, that is not the case with, but with him being homegrown in nation, I just felt we didn't really need Roselli, and he has gone after picking him up also on a free transfer for £56,000, rising up to £72,000. A lot of deals, which when you look at the value of these players now do not look great, but I still think that shows that we have a fair bit of work to do in rising the profile of this league here in Iceland. So those are the sales that we have made so far. In terms of squad registration for the Champions League, this has actually been the best one so far because we have a lot of players who are very, very good. This has been the easiest one so far. A lot more players at the club now who are homegrown at club and in nation. It does mean that most of the players who we want to take in to the Champions League qualifiers this season, we have been able to register at the moment. Mbiyamba is suspended, picked up a few yellow cards in the latter stages of the Conference League, so he's not available for the first leg of today's tie. The only players in our first team not registered are the likes of Fredriksson. Luckily, we do not have to register him these days because he's been a pretty average backup for us Champions League-wise. And Beba, who is leaving on a free transfer at the end of this season anyway, and some young players who are trying to get out on loan, the likes of Mano, Thiago, Luis, and Jorge Sola. Apart from that, everyone else who we want to be registered is. So it is a quite strong squad that we do have for Champions League qualifying this season, albeit that could be weakened just a little bit, as you might have been able to tell by the intro. We are unfortunately looking like we are going to be losing one of our key players. You can see on screen a lot of our players in and around the first team these days are wanted by some big clubs. We have already had to do a bit of convincing to keep the likes of Galtason, Larson, and Rubio at the club. But the one player who did want to leave, unfortunately, we weren't able to talk him around, is Sergio Cadena. He is underbid from a lot of very, very big clubs: Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Napoli, and Juventus. We had a talk with his agent and him. He put a price on his head of £725,000, anything meeting or above that, and we would have to let him go. And unfortunately, those clubs have come in and triggered that deal. I think Chelsea are the front runners for his signature. If we go over to the dynamics, you can see that he wants to join Chelsea, so I think that's the team who will probably get him. The one thing I will say about that deal for Cadena is that that Chelsea one has a 50% of next sale clause attached to it, so we could get potentially a nice injection of cash in the future from that one. But it does look like in the near future, potentially sometime during today's episode, that Sergio Cadena could be leaving us, albeit he is going to be loaned back by all of those clubs. That was part of the deal as well, something that they all wanted to do. So we will get him back, but it will be interesting to see how long we do get him back for, if it matches our domestic season or the European season, and that might play into what we do off the back of that if we need to search for an immediate replacement for him as a good, young, promising backup left winger. But that is the only sale that we didn't really want to make that looks like is going to be happening. Otherwise, it is exactly the squad that we wanted for this upcoming season and for Champions League qualifying. Having a quick look at how we've done off the back of yesterday's episode in the league season. Of course, off the back of that, we have played just over a month. You can see that we have won most of our games in the domestic league, starting off with a 3-0 win at home against Akrones. Then off the back of that, a very interesting game against Keflavik, running out winners 6-2. We will show you guys the highlights from this one because it was an absolutely terrible start, conceding a free kick there at the 4-minute mark, and then at the 20-minute mark, an absolute calamitous bit of play here at the back from Sarah Fellini. Not too sure what he's doing there from the header back from Ian Carlo, and we looked in danger of a home loss here halfway through the first half, albeit right off the back of conceding that second goal. We did kick into gear and started to really run away with this. Fredrik Larsen, who is now our first choice left winger. He had a really good spell out on loan at Landers last season, and he takes over from the departing Sergio Cadena. But off the back of his goal, we started to get into gear 2-2 at half-time and really kicked on in the second half. Ian Carlo here at the 66-minute mark puts one to far post, which Fredrik Larsson tucks away to pick up a double, and off the back of that, we really did extend the lead. Bit of a messy goal this one, but luckily we did score it with Fredrik Larsson picking up a hat-trick, so good to see him hitting some form coming in for the departing Sergio Cadena. And as I said before, we really did kick on from there and made this quite a convincing win in the end, albeit those early stages did make it a little bit nervy at home. Wouldn't have been a great start to the season, but in the end, a very convincing 6-2 win against a team who are quite high in the table at the moment in Keflavik. And off the back of that, we did continue our winning run. For the most part, a 1-0 win in the second round of the Malka Bikram, backed up by a 5-0 win away from home at Keflavik. So that was a much better performance defensively. We did drop points away at Cordringer. That was a very frustrating performance considering they had a player sent off in the 72nd minute, and also considering we did put out our first choice 11 for that game. But apart from that, we have looked very good with wins off the back of that in the league against Fram Reykjavik 3-0, Vala Reykjavik 7-0, Benjamin Rubio picking up 4 goals in that game, and then 7-2 with the backup team, Kevin Musi Martins looking like an exceptional backup striker in that 7-2 win. So what that means for the league table going into this first qualifying round of the Champions League, with every team having played 10 games, we are 7 points clear of both HK and Fieldcare, and Keflavik just hold that 4th qualifying spot for Europe over Vala Reykjavik at the moment. But so far so good apart from that draw against Cordringer, albeit they have risen quite a way up the table off the back of that draw. But apart from that, a pretty faultless start to the season domestically. Everyone is fit and available apart from Sviderski with a little bit of an injury, and Mbiamba with that suspension. We are taking on a team we really should be getting past here in the first qualifying round of the Champions League from Malta in the Hamrun Spartans, and we'll come back shortly for the first leg of the new European season Champions League qualifying. And here are the team sheets for our first game of this new European season. We've made a few changes to our starting 11 from that Conference League final with the sales that we did make, and just freshening up the team with some players coming back from loan. Alejandro Meza is our new starting left back, the Argentinian, with a lot of potential, with Sigurd Bjornsson, the backup left back, the homegrown nation player who we got once his contract at HK did expire. We've freshened up the bench with those players that we did sign at the start of the season, bring back the likes of Pat Ainscoe from loan as well. And in the starting lineup, Fredrik Larsson, our new starting left winger, which makes a lot of sense now that Sergio Cadena is going to be leaving us for a big club. And we've also got Bedrzicki starting at centre-back with that suspension to Mbiamba for this upcoming game. In terms of our opposition today, absolutely a bunch of no names. Hopefully we can get a nice convincing result against these guys over the 2 legs. And 3 minutes gone, we have our first highlight of the new European season. It is a goal kick to the opposition. They do get possession back from that, trying to get it up to their striker there, I believe, but we do get possession back there. I believe that was through Gabriel Corbo, and now down the left-hand side we are with Larsson and Arnason. I am expecting a bit of a performance here from our first team back in European football after a disappointing effort in the Conference League final. Trying to put that in there for Benjamin Rubio, who is in pretty good touch, but gut for the Hamrun Spartans is able to take control of that, pumps it deep, but Ian Carlo wins the header. Nicolussi Caviglia with a ball over there for Fredrik Larsson. He tries to beat the goalkeeper, nearly does, comes off the upright, nearly getting off to a flyer there, but still 0-0 early doors. And not long off the back of that chance off the woodwork from Fredrik Larsson, it is the opposition who do have a highlight, but that is a great slide tackle there from Rubio, and Larsson is one-on-one with the keeper. Can he put it away this time? Blast it high and wide. Encouraging signs, but still 0-0, just shy of the 10-minute mark. And up to the 13-minute mark, the goalkeeper for the Hamrun Spartans does have the ball in his hands, tries to lump it long, but Alejandro Meza does win the initial header, and then Nicolussi Caviglia will tidy things up. From the returner is Benjamin Rubio, is able to take that around the goalkeeper somewhat and slots it away beyond their defence. He gets his first goal of the new European season, and we are underway in Champions League qualifying 1-0 at the 13-minute mark. It was a long ball forward here from Ian Carlo, just gets in behind the defence and somehow is able to take that around the goalkeeper. Took it a little bit too far to the left there, I thought, but tucks it away nicely into the back of the net. We are 1-0 up at the 14-minute mark. And a few minutes off the back of that opening goal, Arnason there, I think, hit a shot, but Gut is able to make a pretty simple save, tries to lump it deep. It does look like what our opposition today are doing for the most part, but we have got a very good centre-back partnership. It looks like Benjamin Rubio, with a great chance for a double, just puts it wide. It remains 1-0 Völsungur. 22 minutes gone now. We do have a free kick. Nygaard puts us into the mixer, too much depth on it, and Gut is able to tidy things up. So the scoreline does remain 1-0 for now, but surely something else is going to come from this highlight more than just that pretty soft bit of play that we did see so far in Nygaard. His position on the halfway line, we just knock it about on the right-hand side here. Hopefully can start kicking into gear sooner rather than later and really start to assert our dominance on our opposition today. And Frederick Larsson gets in behind the defence, squares that for Benjamin Rubio. It's a really good finish there into the top right corner, and Benjamin Rubio does pick up a double in fairly short order at the 24-minute mark. We are 2-0 up. Some good short passing on the right-hand side. Switch it out to the left. Meza plays Larsson in, is able to find Rubio there at the near post, tucks it away nicely in that top right corner. 2-0 Völsungur after 23 minutes. And we do have a highlight immediately off the back of that. It is a restart here for the Hamrun Spartans, but hopefully we can really put the foot down now that Benjamin Rubio is on the score sheet with a double, but they do hold the ball fairly well here, albeit still inside their own half. They play it back to the centre-back, tries to put that in behind, but Bedrzicki does win the ball. They do get a header off, but our centre-backs are there to tidy things up again. Nicolusi Caviglia back to Bedrzicki, looking decent so far out there in this first rotation, stepping in for the suspended Mbiyamba. Nice ball there for Porstein. Arnason, not much power on that finish, but he does find the bottom right corner. We are really peppering that side of goal so far, and at the 25-minute mark, we are really starting to pull away from our molten opposition today. It is 3-0 Völsungur. Nygaard with his left foot just finds Arnason in a bunch of space. Some good placement from him. 3 goals up just after the halfway point of the first half. And now at the 37-minute mark, it was the Hamrun Spartans looking to play out of defence, but Nygaard with an interception. We are back on the attack, tries to put a ball into the mixer. It's a poor clearance. It takes a deflection, and Meza down the left-hand side will play that back in for Arnason. Puts one there for Benjamin Rubio. He has a first half hat-trick in our first qualifying game of the Champions League. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come for our club captain, and this time he uses his big old head to put that in the back of the net. Arnason whips this into the mixer. It's a really powerful header that into that right-hand corner yet again, and it is 4-0, just shy of the 40-minute mark, and straight off the back of that goal, another highlight here from the restart. Can we really pile the misery on these guys? We might already be looking at a game where we induce the mercy rule on my voice and don't commentate the second leg, just bring you guys highlights, but we'll see what happens in the remaining 50 minutes or so of this game. Wonderful short passing. Benjamin Rubio gets a 4th goal. He is onside, and he is absolutely turning on the style here as Benjamin Rubio shades of his quarterfinal performance against Anderlecht in the Conference League not too long ago. Some good work again here down the left-hand side. Meza for Nicolusi, then to Nygaard. Wonderful short passing. Not quite sure how Rubio stayed onside there, but the goal does stand. 5-0 approaching the 40-minute mark. We'll just have a look at this. In fact, it's their right back playing him quite nicely onside there. 5-0, 5 minutes before half-time, and yet again, another restart highlight here. So it'll be interesting to see what the Hamrun Spartans do this time around, but we are looking very good so far in our first qualifying game of the new European season. But the Hamrun Spartans are still in possession. A poor pass there though. Arnason will tidy things up. Frederick Larsson makes his way down the left-hand side over to Alejandro Meza. Looks like we're really exposing them on the wings. Puts the ball into the mixer. Nygaard has to retreat to get possession back for us, but does it well. We still hold the ball inside the final third. Nygaard switching that out to Arnason. 40 might just try a volley there for a quick second, but Meza puts this in there for Nygaard, this time on the volley, tucks it into the top right corner. As I said earlier, we are really peppering that side of the goal at that end. That net must be nearly bursting after this first half so far, and at the 40-minute mark, we really do start to turn on the style. It is 6-0, 5 minutes shy of half-time. Absolute dominance here so far from this Völsungur team. And 42 minutes gone, so another highlight here in the first half. A throw inside the final third. Some good 1-2 play. Larson still in possession. Puts one into the mix there for Benjamin Rubio to run onto. Powers that yet again into the right-hand corner. I'm surprised there's not a hole in that side of the goal at this stage. He gets his 5th goal of the first half, and we make it 7-0 on the day before halftime. This is an absolute mismatch. It is fair to say Benjamin Rubio is on fire yet again. 7-0 just shy of halftime. And yet again, another restart highlights. I don't quite have a chance to catch my breath. I've got a lot of highlights late in this first half, but we do not mind. We are really turning on the style in this game. Looks like we'll be making our way through pretty comfortably to the second qualifying round, and they do play another deep ball, but Biedrzycki tidies things up for us. He is having a nice game on a 7.2, but Benjamin Rubio is in behind again. He picks up yet another goal. He gets 6 now in the first half, and we are absolutely smashing these guys. It is 8-0 at halftime. They're just giving us the ball back far too easily. Nygaard loops this over the top. It's a well-timed run from Benjamin Rubio. Just puts that in past that near post on that right-hand side. 8-0 to Völsungur, 1 minute shy of halftime. And we are not done in the first half yet. 46 minutes gone of 48 with the added time put on for all those goals, which all things considered isn't actually that much time, but yet again, we are in possession, getting it given back to us far too easily. Rubio in behind yet again. Can he make it 7? You bet he can. That's his 30th goal of the season. It is 9-0 here at halftime. This is just complete night and day in terms of the quality between these two teams out here today. This Maltese team just not really up to Champions League qualifying. It looks like Benjamin Rubio having an absolute field day. It looks like we should be going into halftime with a 9-0 lead. We'll just make sure, because we've had a lot of late highlights in that first half, but that is an absolutely dominant performance so far. Only a 4.26 XG, and we have 9 goals in the back of the net. They have only had the one shot. We have had 28 with 17 on targets. Absolutely no complaints at this stage. We should already be in a position to make our way through to that second qualifying round. I think we'll make one change at halftime. Galtason on a yellow card, so we'll take no risks with that. I do see that Biedrzycki can play DMs. What I think we're going to do is bring Ofosu on for Galtason. He can go back to centre back, and Biedrzycki to the DM role, but more or less already through to that second qualifying round. 9-0 up at halftime in the first leg. And 1 minute into the second half, we have our first highlight. We did have one from the restart, but it wasn't too threatening from us there, so we'll see what happens from this one. Might just cut the highlights down a little bit in the second half, considering what the scoreline is, but we are back in possession yet again, having made just that one change with Ofosu coming on for Galtason. Biedrzycki moving up to the defensive midfield, but we'll see if we can pick up where we left off. Oh, Benjamin Rubio, of course he can, and I think that is now 8 goals in this game. I am starting to lose count, and we make it 10-0 at the 47-minute mark. This is an absolute slapping. It is fair to say that vertical tiki-taka style that we do use is just far too good for these guys at the moment. Didn't have quite as much space for that shot as some of his past ones there, Rubio, but still puts it in the bottom right corner. Yet again, 10-0 up around the 50-minute mark, and we do have another highlight not too long off the back of that one. They pump it deep, we win the header, and Larson pumps that back to Alejandro Mays. We'll look to get something else going here. Down the left-hand side, Arnason picks out Nygaard. Down the right-hand side, squares it for Benjamin Rubio yet again. He will pick up his 9th goal of the game. He is on absolute fire. This must be getting close to some sort of records for goals in a single game. Arnason over to Nygaard. Good weight on that ball to get it beyond the Hamrun defence. And Benjamin Rubio this time picks out the bottom left corner. It's 11-0 coming up to the 50-minute mark. And 55 minutes gone, this time we do have a corner. Nicolusi Caviglia puts it into the near post, and Gabriel Corbo joins in on the party. It's a centre-back near post goal from set piece, and it is now 12-0 just after the 55-minute mark. And up to the 68-minute mark, we're going to make our second substitution, a bunch of players up front on 10 ratings, including, of course, Benjamin Rubio, who indeed has 9 goals next to his name. Not quite used to seeing a number that big next to a striker in a non-friendly game. But Fredrik Larsson is down to a red heart for the last time, potentially, as a player owned by this club. Sergio Cadena can come on for him. Still 20 minutes left, and we are 12-0 up. And just before we can make that substitution, another highlight has started. We are deep on attack just outside the box. Ian Carlo down the right-hand side there puts that in for Nicolusi Caviglia. Switches it out to Fredrik Larsson. In for Rubio. Good chance for him there. They do clear it off the line, albeit the highlight will continue looking for his 10th goal in the game is our Spanish striker, but we continue to hold possession inside the final third. Rubio for Nygaard. He gets on the score sheet. In fact, it's his second goal of the game. It's a wonderful curving shot that with his left foot, I believe, into that top right corner. Yet again, that side of the goal at both ends is getting an absolute peppering today. Benjamin Rubio gets an assist to go alongside his 9 goals. Fair to say he should be getting player of the game. 13-0 with 20 minutes left of the first leg. And up to the 78-minute mark, we're going to make our last substitution. The highlight starting to slow down, which is slightly concerning, albeit we've got a pretty nice lead. Pat Ainscoe to come on for Nygaard on a hat-trick, but down to a red heart. So we'll give him a rest. 12 minutes left, 13-0. And that is full time in this one. Not much happening inside those last 20 minutes. Benjamin Rubio probably actually should have had 10 goals. There was a highlight which I cut out in the last 10 minutes. It was a goal which he did look onside for, was ruled out for offside, but doesn't really mean too much. 50 shots to 2, 28 on target to 0, and we pick up a 13-0 lead. I think this is a scoreline that not even Dr. Benji could blow in the second leg, and I think what we're going to do, just to save my voice, is come back shortly and show you guys the highlights from the second leg, because I'm pretty sure we should make our way through to that second qualifying round off the back of a 13-0 win in the first leg. And here are the highlights of the second leg. This one was the home leg. I think I might have said that that first leg was at home just by the fact that we did pick up a 13-0 win. Felt like it was probably the home leg, but no, that was the away leg. This was the home leg. Yet again, Benjamin Rubio was on an absolute tear. He is already going to be in a great position to be the leading goal scorer for the Champions League this upcoming season, with, of course, the qualifying goals counting in the Golden Boot race, and he is just absolutely destroyed the Hamrun Spartans across both legs of this tie. An early penalty in the second leg not helping. Bjarki Bjarkason getting a goal there just before halftime. Ledson also starting this game. You can see we made a few changes, just making sure that players on a heavy workload were kept fit, considering the fact that we had this tie pretty well under control, and we end up picking up a 9-0 win as we continue to roll through the goals. Ledson and Bjarkason both doing a very good job coming into the side in this game, which is nice. And at the 72-minute mark, we added yet another goal in the end. It was a 9-0 win to go alongside our 13-0 win from the first leg, and we end up winning 22-0 on aggregate, which must be some kind of record. If it's not, then it doesn't say much for the team who got defeated by a heavier margin before that. But it was a very complete performance over both legs. Benjamin Rubio just having an absolute tear, picking up 14 of the 22 goals. And we absolutely smashed the Hamrun Spartans there in the first qualifying round of the Champions League. We did play one more game in between those two legs. It was a 3-0 win in the league against Lechner Reykjavik. 2 goals to Cadena alongside a Caviglia penalty late in that one. That means that we are 4 points clear now, so the gap has shrunk, but that is because HK have played an extra game, so we are still in a pretty good position there at the halfway stage of the league season. We will also have a quick look at the Champions League and just have a look at the overall stats in that competition. You can see Benjamin Rubio not quite as clear as I thought he might have been in terms of goal scoring, with Ryan Mame having 11 goals after that tie as well. So there's a few teams turning on the absolute style during the early stages of Champions League qualifying. And you can see on screen there that we are going to be taking on Zalgiris Vilnius in the second qualifying round. That is a team who we did beat in the first qualifying round, I think 2 seasons ago, in the season that we did make the group stages of the Champions League. So to take a team like that on in the second qualifying round suggests it might be another pretty easy time for us, hopefully, albeit potentially not quite as easy as what we did have in today's episode. The team who are from Lithuania, 2-star reputation. They got past Rook Brest 3-2 on aggregate to make their way into the second qualifying round, coming off a 22-0 win. I think it's fair to say we should be pretty heavy favourites for that one, albeit they probably have a few stronger players based on the club's reputation, but still another tie which we should be winning pretty comfortably. Hopefully that has helped us pick up some good coefficient points, those 2 massive wins that we did get. We may as well check that out, seeing as the games weren't all that close, and you can see there off the back of those wins which we picked up in that first qualifying round, we have already surpassed the coefficient for the year that we are getting rid of. We are on a 2.0 and we are getting rid of a 1.33 at the end of this season. So that is exactly how we want to start things out this season, and hopefully by the end of this season we will get up into a position potentially above the likes of Denmark or Austria, where we can skip that first qualifying round in the future, because it's fair to say that was a bit of a whitewash. One more thing that we need to bring you guys before the end of this episode, as I do click on the wrong thing, we make our way over to the transfer history page, because as expected we have made a sale, and as you can see there, Sergio Cadena did leave for Chelsea, £725,000, but he has been loaned back to us for the rest of the season. Unfortunately though, the loan does expire at the end of this domestic season, and that does mean if we register him for the group stages of the Champions League that he is going to be unavailable for the last 2 games of that, as he would be back at Chelsea, and our transfer window does not open up again until February. So I think Sergio Cadena will be available for the qualifying stages of the Champions League, but we're probably better off looking at bringing someone in sooner rather than later to replace him for the group stages. So that is something just to keep an eye out on. But he has left us for Chelsea for £725,000, which is the most that we could really get for him with what the agent was requesting. And you see what he's worth now that he is at Chelsea. That is a little bit of a kick in the guts, albeit still a decent profit for us, considering we did pick him up on a free transfer, and that 50% of next sale clause could end up being a very nice future payday for the club indeed. Hopefully someone big comes in for him and we get a very nice collect off the back of that, and can really invest some big money into this squad that we do have here at Völsungur. Not that we potentially need to right now though, considering we're coming off the back of a 22-0 win in Champions League qualifying. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Coming up tomorrow, we are back in the Champions League second qualifying round against Zalgiris Vilnius, another tie which does look quite winnable for us. But if you did enjoy today's episode, just the one game, but it was a pretty long one I think, with those 13 goals. If you did enjoy it, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell as well. And until tomorrow for the second qualifying round of the Champions League, and potentially we might have to sign a new left winger as well. Until then though, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.